Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be reacting to Was Jesus an Alien? This is Billy Carson in Flagrant, the podcast of Andrew Schultz. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what Billy Carson has to say. And yeah, let's check it out.
Okay, take us back to Anunnaki.
Mhm.
What are they?
Well,
These
the-
giants.
Yeah. Okay, the Anunnaki, they are these beings that came from off-world.
So these are aliens.
These are aliens. Now, what's interesting about these aliens is that they're not little green men with antenna.
Yeah.
They're actually hominids, bilateral bipedal hominids. They look just like us.
Okay.
You slice them in half. They have two forward-face-looking eyes, two hands, legs. They put their pants on one leg at a time, like us.
But do they look more like us or more like
They look like we look like them.
Okay.
We actually look like them.
Okay.
And the reason why is because we have their genetics and their DNA inside of our bodies. Now, what's interesting is these beings were a spacefaring race that broke away from the Pleiadian star system. The Pleiadian star system is a group of stars called the Seven Sisters in the night sky. You can see 6 stars with the naked eye. Now, these stars in ancient times, according to ancient texts and tablets, there was an ancient galactic war there.
Okay.
Most of the information from Star Wars comes from this text. And this war, they had these destroyers like Death Stars. They don't call them that, but they call them the Brahma Astra and Brahma Astra Honda weapons that actually can release a weapon that can destroy planets.
Okay.
Imagine if you were in a star system and a planet is being blown up and you're in a nearby planet.
You're
You
getting
got to
the fuck
get
out of there.
off of your planet.
Yeah.
This created something called space refugees. Nobody's talking about this. I'm the first
Where
one.
are you getting this information again? Where is
The
this?
Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian Vedas.
So these are ancient Indian texts.
That's right.
5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Enuma Elish,
I just
which
wanna
is
let you know.
Sumerian.
And I want to get to this, but
Yeah.
for this entire episode,
Yeah.
we're not fact checking.
Okay.
Okay. We're not debating. We're not pushing it. Take us down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole. We want to see
taking you
how
down.
deep it goes.
The people can listen to what I'm saying and they can go look all of it up.
Fuck them. Take us down the rabbit
I'm
hole.
taking
Billy.
you, man.
Okay, let's go.
So we're talking about
Yes, and.
we're talking about the evidence, the very first evidence of space refugees.
So you're seeing this in these ancient Indian texts.
Yeah.
Okay. You come across this and you're like, okay, let me see if there's some truth to this because
Yeah.
I'm seeing this across multiple ancient Indian texts.
Right.
Any other text referencing this?
The Terra Papers, an ancient indigenous American text as well.
Okay.
Very little known text that hardly anyone talks about. The Hopi tribe elders have written this book based on that text and published it actually. It's called the Terra Paper. So that it wasn't just in indigenous lore, but it made it finally to publishing. So it's actual text that we can all read and get access to. It reads like the Star Wars movie. Just take out the love stories and all that. And what's interesting is it talks about, again, these same galactic wars going on. People fleeing from that region of space, looking for other planets, Orion, Aldebaran, Sirius A, B, and C, which we know the Dogon talk about people coming from Sirius B, which is a star that ran out of fuel, and of course Earth. And they came here to create a breakaway civilization. Just like if there was a war, and there was in our solar system, that's what we call Mars, the god of war, we're going to be like, we got to get off this planet because the debris is going to destroy us.
So we're the product of pussy aliens, basically. Like aliens who weren't ready to bang and fight for their future and their freedom. They just ran. We're defectors.
They were
Is that-
they were the elites that had the access to the ships that can take them from one star to another.
So are they like the politicians that like didn't go to Vietnam?
Right.
God, it's so
Yeah.
yeah, we're the product of like rich,
They're-
privileged kids.
They're
Yeah.
the guys with the $10,000 suits that just sent everyone out
Yes.
to die.
They would be protesting at Columbia, right?
Correct.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, good. Got it. Okay,
Yeah,
good,
that's who these people are. And so some of them came to Earth. And so Anunnaki is a general term. It doesn't mean one race. It's just like if all of us here got in a spaceship and flew to Mars and we met a Martian and he said, "Who are you guys?" We'd say Earthlings.
Got it. But they maybe would call us Anunnaki.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm Billy Carson from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Right. So they would get, they're Earthlings. That's one term, but we're all different races here.
Right.
Right. So, but Anunnaki is a term to say those who came from heaven to earth. That's it. In Africa, they call it the Nituru, which means the same exact thing. The gods that came from heaven to earth and turned mud into a kingdom. Now, the civilization they built is the Atlantean civilization.
So this is where we hear about Atlantis, the
Yes.
mythology of Atlantis.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
They built the Atlantean
And
civilization.
where's the evidence for this? Where do you read about that?
Well, if you look in the text, a lot of the Indian texts, the
Got it.
Vedas, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the ancient lore of the indigenous aboriginals, the Terra Papers, the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Atrahasis, the Code of Hammurabi, the Myth of Etana. There's so many tablets. I can just keep going down.
Everybody's referencing
Yeah.
the Atlantean civilization.
Yeah.
Obviously, the most popular one was it Plato's uncle or something like that?
Plato. Plato wrote about them.
Oh,
yeah.
he did?
Yes, he did. Yes,
Okay.
You know.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
And so, you start looking at this information. That was more recent. I mean, when I say recent, it's not as ancient. But the account of Plato's account of Atlantis is not that ancient. But we're talking about the ring city, but that was just one capital. So that ring city that was being described is one capital of dozens that existed on Earth at the same time.
Do we know where these other ones might be? Is there any remnants?
They were
of
on
them?
every continent, every single continent. We're standing on Atlantis right now. We're sitting right on top of Atlantis.
It was New York.
Yes, everyone on this planet is on top of Atlantis. So when you
that.
start to look at the Americas, you discover that there were so many pyramids in the Americas. There were literally thousands of them. What happened to them? The Catholic Church blew up the tops of these pyramids and built churches on top of them.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on,
Fucking
bro.
Mark,
That's
bro.
it. Yeah.
Hold on.
I was raised Catholic. They never told us that.
No, they won't tell you
Give
that.
me a sip.
They
This is
didn't-
great.
they didn't
It's time to get
They
going.
didn't, they didn't tell you guys a lot of stuff.
Hold on. So break this down.
Right.
There were pyramids everywhere.
Yeah.
How do the Catholics find out about? Are they reading the ancient texts?
Oh no, they just know that we gotta eradicate this civilization science because we want to impose our will on the people. See, the Catholic Church went through something called the Inquisitions.
Yes.
It was the papal Inquisitions where they went around the planet and they killed and tortured and murdered 80 million people to convert them into Christianity. And
Got it.
So it wasn't spread like they tell you in church. The gospel means the good news. It was really bad news when these people showed up. It would
was
be
by
like
force.
America showing up to your country and you have oil buried in the ground.
Really?
Bad.
Wow. So they were like giving women fucking rights and shit.
Oh.
Let them read.
They,
Absurd.
they have.
What the fuck is wrong with these people, man?
If you go to the museum in Rome,
Yeah.
you'll find they still have the torture tools there in the museum. They're proud of them. They have the Pope's spear. The Pope's, spear, which went up in a woman's vagina.
I saw that one.
Pop them open from the inside.
Good
They had a spire
gracious.
that they would lower a man down onto the spire through his butthole over and over again, up and down until he died.
Damn, no Diddy, bro.
For real. They just had all these torture mechanisms.
Yeah.
What they would do is get the leader, the king, the chief, the guy who does all the sage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The medicine man.
Yeah.
And then they would say, look, we need to convert everyone to this. And if you don't, then we're going to kill you.
You're gonna fuck you from the inside out.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
So they would make
Who
everyone.
would do the fucking? Because I feel like that would be against Catholicism.
It would be one of these people from their church system and be, hey,
So there was a fucker. There was a guy who would
There
have
was a
to,
guy, he'd connect you and get you lined up perfectly
Yeah.
and, and do that. Sick people. But when you,
Do what you gotta do, all right?
it's wild.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta spread the gospel.
You gotta
Yeah,
spread the
You gotta
gospel.
spread the gospel.
It is the good word.
Under the order of Rome.
Yeah.
And, but the big thing Rome said was, look, we got to get this money.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to convert our pagan system into a Christian system. We're going to combine the two together. That's why we have all these fake holidays that are all pagan holidays
Yeah.
in Christianity.
That's my man Constantine, right?
Yeah, Constantine. They just combined it all together. Now we got the taxes and we got the offerings.
Yeah.
We got both. And now we got the people unified. And now we can put our boot on everybody's neck. And so once they reeled up the leader of that village or that town and killed him like that, and everyone saw it, it was like, okay, I'm ready to learn now. Teach me your language. Talk to me about your God. By the second, third generation, you're born, you're given a name, a race, and a religion, and you don't even know who you are.
Wow. So, do you know which church in America or which churches are on old pyramids?
Oh no, you just have to go and just go out there. See anything on most of the older ones that are on hills with the triptych windows. The triptych windows are the same windows that mimic the 3 windows that you see in a lot of the pyramids, like in Chichen Itza, Yucatan Peninsula, and all of that. Those older ones. If you go to Mexico City, how I learned this, I went to Mexico City. I got a homegrown archaeologist. He started showing me all the hills and all the old churches. He said those were all pyramids.
So it's wild. Like when you go to the Mexico City pyramid specifically,
Yeah.
they show you what it looked like before and what it looked like after. You can never look at a hill again
Right.
and not think it's a pyramid
Right.
after you go see it.
Facts.
It's so if go look at it,
Are you
you
talking
can
about
see
these?
not Chichen Itza.
Yeah, that's the triptych, yes.
Ah, wow.
At the
wow.
top of all Catholic churches, the older ones, they all have that triptych design. And most of the ones that are old in the 1800s built on those hills were
Go to the Mexico City pyramids and do it before excavation. Because what happens is grass just starts to grow on them.
Yes.
So they just start to look like terrain.
yeah,
And,
hills.
Yeah, they just look
big
like
ass
hills. And people have all these like explanations for it. Like my tour guide, yeah, look at that. So like if you just saw that, like that black
Yeah.
and white picture to the right there, yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me that you would never look at that and assume pyramid.
right, right.
Wow.
So now I have to look at every fucking hill and go,
Yeah,
should we dig this thing up and see? And some of them are just hills,
yeah. Some are just hills, but some are these.
right?
Got it.
So when the Anunnaki came to Earth, were there already Homo sapiens here?
Yes, good question. There were already not Homo sapiens, but hominids.
No, there weren't.
Our cousins.
Bad question.
They were Homo erectus. They were our cousins.
Yeah, they were.
But I believe that they were more intelligent than us spiritually.
So
Not
is it
technologically.
fair to say that the aliens were the first ones to smash monkeys?
No, they didn't do the monkeys. We were
They had to, right?
because when we were here, they didn't call us apes. They called us beings.
Yeah.
And in the Epic of Atrahasis, there was this big war getting ready to happen. And Enki and Lil and Anu were in this place in South Africa called Adam's Calendar, where they found the very first gold mines that human beings were working underneath their boot. Anyway, so the Ijiji, who were the working class Anunnaki, came from Mars to Earth to go to war against them because they felt like they were being enslaved, even though they weren't supposed to be slaves. They were just working class people. They felt like they were doing too much labor. For 250,000 years, they were working.
Whoa.
And they came to Earth and they encircled the campus and they said, we're going to go to war. And it was like, well, why? And they were like, well, we've been asking you for relief. The workload is too heavy, and we don't have any women. So
That's a big issue.
they were complaining about no women, literally in the ancient tablets. And so Enki says,
They need a king of diamonds, bro.
What were they saying? What were they saying? in the
Enki
ancient
says,
tablets?
I have an idea. Because they had kind of discussed in a weird way fashioning people. That means like robotics.
Okay.
But they had talked about their home planet. When they tried that, it failed. So that's a clue as to what AI and robotics can do to a planet. They were like, there's an existing being here, though, that we can add our essence to, talking about genetic modification, and get them to bear your load.
So don't make robots, make people that can
Right.
do your work for you.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
So they started with that method first.
So they're just forcing human beings to do their work for them.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And that's how
Who
they
would do
bring them the offerings.
Yeah.
When you bring the offerings,
Yeah.
your best harvest and your fresh calves, that's their meat, that's their food.
This is what you see in the biblical text.
They're eating. That's their meals. They're not going to go out and hunt. I mean, this archaeologist was talking to me in Egypt in 2014 and was just laughing. He was showing me one of the altars. He said these people were so dumb. He just said his own people. He says they would line up in ancient times for miles to bring their best offerings to the head god. Wow. And the god was just putting them all this food in the storehouses. And he showed me where the storehouses were inside these temples. They would put these things in there. Then they had these other areas underneath the temple where other priests would go underneath and speak, and it would resonate their voice. And it would be the voice of God talking. And it was all this, nothing but a sham to get them to bring all this food and gold and offerings and everything else.
I mean, I do believe that because if you go to Chichen Itza, you can have the limestone creates this like a vibration effect.
Yeah.
And you can have like a conversation, like me and you can talk to one another across a football field.
Yes.
Like this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the sound bounces. Phew,
It's crazy.
comes right back at you.
Yeah. So if they were using that as some sort of technological advantage, like some Wizard of Oz shit,
Yeah.
Whoa. So were they literally eating, or were they eating off like the energy of the sacrifice? Or
No,
they,
they were eating the food. They were barbecuing.
What
it,
about
man.
sacrificing?
what about they had a cookout?
They were barbecuing.
There's the aliens there.
Eating oxtail and
Frank's
shit.
red hot. Someone sacrifice some more hot sauce.
I mean, think about it. I mean, if you were the ruler of a planet,
Yeah, Billy, I
gonna
think you might be putting on what you would do in that situation. Is that possible?
No,
That's
no,
what the
listen.
Middle East best
I'm
food.
telling you, these people ate the food because I take tours to Egypt all the time. Last year I took 140 people
Oh,
on
wow.
a private tour.
Yeah.
And when I go, I take a homegrown Egyptologist and a homegrown guide with us. And he takes us to the temples where they actually have the where they actually have the storehouses.
Getting hungry. Billy's getting hungry.
It's like that damn barbecue.
Hey man, listen.
Okay, so go. So you're there.
But
They take you to all the different spots.
So we take you to the temples and we show
Yeah.
you where they would hide the food, where they
Okay.
would take all the offerings and where they would store it.
Yeah.
It was their grocery store, literally.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Is Jesus part alien?
I believe so.
And was he part alien and trying to do good?
Yes, I believe so.
So he was breaking away. He was using his power, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Yo, what these aliens are doing to us is fucked up.
Right.
We need to break free from that,
Yeah.
and I'm going to liberate the people."
Yeah, so you have to understand,
Fire.
you're right on point. There's good and
Yo,
evil in
Jesus
everything.
is the man, bro.
Yeah,
he's
there's good and evil in everything.
We're all part alien
Yeah.
at this point, right?
Absolutely, it's in our DNA.
Ah, fuck. I thought he was a little bit more.
Well, he
a
was
little
more.
extra.
He was a little bit more, yes.
How was he a little bit more?
Well, if you look at the Apocrypha text, you discover that not only was Jesus's mom a virgin birth, but his grandmother was also a virgin birth. Nobody ever talks about that in church, and they hear about that in Sunday school.
Wait a minute. So his grandma. So, wow.
Yeah. So you see this establishment of this particular bloodline.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he comes through the womb and then begins to regain all of his own memories, right? So he is a reincarnation of himself from a previous lifetime.
Oof.
That's why sometimes I hypothesize that he could be Thoth the Atlantean, who says that he could incarnate on and in any plane he desires. Could he have decided now to come back through the womb?
So Thoth the
human.
Atlantean was the king of the Atlantean Empire,
Yeah, he was one of them.
or one
He
of
was
the leaders of the Atlantean
yes.
Empire. He is
Yeah.
reincarnating inside Jesus.
Yeah.
And why has he chosen to help the people instead of enslave us like he did in the
Good
past?
question. When you look at the ancient text where Jesus gets all of his information from,
Yeah, yeah.
the Emerald Tablets of Thoth,
We need to talk about that on the
Right.
tablets, bro.
38,000-year-old text. In there, in the book that I wrote about it, I line up the Christian text
Yeah.
and I line up Jesus's text from the New Testament.
This is going to seem really ignorant. People were writing shit down 36,000 years ago?
Thoth authored these tablets himself. He actually wrote, he didn't have a scribe. A lot of the times these God figures or these leaders would have scribes.
Right.
He actually wrote it down himself. He actually put it onto these tablets.
And
These-
what is he writing in? What language?
Well, it looked like the language was runes, R-U-N-E-S, okay? And in this text, he writes about coming to this planet after the Great Flood and seeing the temples of ancient Kemet sticking up out of the mud and actually going on a mission to help rebuild civilization. Not that it was for the first time, but he's rebuilding it to a high level.
So it was already built,
Yeah.
destroyed. He's like, hey, let's run it back again.
Right. His father sends him on a mission. His father says, go to the land of Chem and do the plan that ye know of. So he gets his crew and he gets into the great ship of the master and he takes off until the planet disappears. This
Which
is an
is the
ancient text.
horizon.
Right. He's up in the sky.
Oh, he's coming from.
He's in a ship that goes up.
Gotcha.
Because you know this because when he gets over the land of Chem, he goes, I see the land of Chem beneath us. And I see the temples rising up out of the mud that were flooded by the fountains.
Now we come back.
Now he comes down to the ground.
The fountains is the Great Flood.
Right.
Got it. Okay. I'm
He
with you.
opens the door, he comes out, and he calls these people barbarians coming to attack him, probably
Crazy.
territorial.
Crazy.
And he says, I raised my staff and sent out a ray of vibration, stopping them still as fragments of stone of the mountain. So now he's got a stun gun that can freeze them in their tracks.
That's fire.
That's technology.
That-
Now we have something.
so is the spaceship. But
yeah. But we have something right now in the military called the active denial system.
Which is
It's the same
when
exact.
gays try to join.
No, no. Oh, shit. I'd like to strike that from the record, Your Honor. No, it's a system that works just like what he described in ancient tablets,
Yeah.
where it sends out a beam, a ray. Type in active denial system, put it up there. It sends out a beam at
Yeah,
a crowd of people coming to attack, right? To riot or whatever. And it stops them in their tracks. It makes them feel like they're in pain, makes them feel like they want to vomit, put voices in their head.
Wow.
Whatever you want to do, you can program the frequency into their body to make it do that.
Is this what the people said they were experiencing in the
Cuba?
Yeah, in the basin.
Havana syndrome? Is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going. All right.
So
you're on it, you're on it.
So then here's the key about the God thing. Him, not wanting to be one of these gods. When he released them from that, he started talking to the people peacefully, and they started groveling at his feet. And he said, No, get up. He said, I'm a son of Atlantis. He didn't say I'm God. And he said, I'm a son of Atlantis, and I'm here to bring you back up to a high level of civilization. And he worked with the people for a couple thousand years to rebuild that civilization. Before he left and he told all of his people that came there with him, spread out around the planet. This is how Atlantis advanced again. Spread out around the planet and duplicate what we did here.
And this is where you see similar stories
Correct.
across ancient texts around the world.
Correct.
And those similar stories are higher intelligence comes to us, bestows upon us this wisdom after the floods.
The Lakota tribe, the Hopi tribe, the Dogon tribe of Africa, the Aboriginals. I could just keep going on and on and on. Matter of fact, the verbal handed down history of the Aboriginals, because I've been there before and hung out, went for a walkabout in the outback with the Aboriginals and went on a trail to go find Proto-Egyptian hieroglyphs, which we did stumble across and get them documented, that they were seated on this planet by Pleiadians.
Pleiadians
From the Pleiades.
Got you.
The same people that the Sumerians talk about, they call it Mo in the ancient texts. The ancient Egyptians revere it as well, the Pleiades. It's in every text, Homer's Iliad, the Bible, the Mahabharata, any text you go to, and most artifacts are going to have a depiction of the Pleiades or talk about the Pleiades.
And what's the depiction?
The stars, the 7 stars.
Oh, it's that star system.
Yeah. Subaru even has it on their logo for their car.
So it's a gay lesbian. It's a lesbian. It's a lesbian galaxy. Is that what's going on? Okay.
Shout out Subarus. We love y'all.
It's a constellation. It's a star system.
You had talked about Jesus, where he went from like 12 to like 32.
Yeah.
Can you explain Jesus' trajectory from 12 to 32 that we don't have in the Bible?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So Jesus disappears from the Bible at the age of 12, right? He disappears, and where does he go? There's another text called the Gospel of the Holy 12. And in the Gospel of the Holy 12, which was omitted from the Bible, he goes to Egypt with his mother. Now, I've been there, and when I take my tour, when I take people on tour, I take them to the place where he slept. It's still there. It's a crypt now. It's like a place to go there. You know where it's at, right?
It's inside a church, right?
Coptic Cairo, correct. Right inside that church. They converted it into a church. And he went there to study the Egyptian mysteries. He went there also to learn all about the ancient mystery schools, and then he left there and he went to Tibet to learn the mystic art. Tibet, he went to go learn, not mystic arts, but went to go learn spirituality.
He went to Tibet?
And mystic arts, yes, mystic arts. And then he went down into India, learned about reincarnation and all of that. And then he came back down and he reappears in the biblical text when God says in the Bible, I called my son out of Egypt.
What an episode for Akash to miss. I mean, we don't tell him any of this. By the way. The ego that he will have finding out that Jesus learned everything from India.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't tell him. Okay, keep going. Okay, so
He learned
learns
Reiki
all
healing in Tibet and, energy healing with his hands. The mystic arts, I have to correct myself, the mystic arts he learned in India.
Got it.
And then coming back down, teaching reincarnation all the way back.
And how do we know that he went out there to India?
Well, the records have been kept. It's complete records. And even the Dalai Lama confirmed that he was in Tibet at one time.
Really?
Yeah.
How do they keep reincarnation out of the Bible?
Well, the Bible is about reincarnation, but they doctored it up to make you think that it's not about reincarnation. But when you even look into the book of Revelations, it says you're going to get a new name and a new body. It didn't say you was going to be a spirit with energy. It said you're going to get a new name and a new body, a physical body, and that you're going to live inside of that body. And so you're going to come back and be born again, And in the biblical text where people are getting confused about this born again, like in the spirit thing, it's really born again in consciousness. Getting dipped into a bucket of water and all of that's a waste of time. Somebody dumping you in a pool and all that, you just get wet. dumping babies and splashing the babies. It's a waste of money, a waste of time. You know?
So what you're saying is that's just a metaphor for this conscious rebirth to happen.
Conscious rebirth. We can have a rebirth right now. Right now, if we decide to look at ourselves and think about things that we were doing wrong, maybe in our lives right now, things that could be better with ourselves, and we begin to work on ourselves, and we go back and have a meeting again in 2 weeks and say, what have we individually worked on within ourselves to become a better person?
That's spiritual rebirth.
That is rebirth. We had just now been born again in the spirit. And you can be born again many times in one lifetime.
I loved watching Andrew's reactions and comments to Billy Carson story, and it was hilarious to watch. But a couple of things I want to say is, first of all, it's obvious that Billy is super smart. His ability to recall information and tell the story. He's obviously very smart person and very intellectually smart. I'm familiar with these stories of the Anunnaki, Zachariah Sitchin, ancient aliens, Gaia TV, and the alien god mythology and all of this. But I would have to say that I disagree with most of what he's saying. There's a kernel of truth to what he's saying about Atlantis, about the pyramids. There's a lot of stuff that I agree with. But to say that aliens came and genetically modified us to become who we are now, and basically they created us as slaves to work for them, what kind of origin story does that give you? Like, does that give you empowerment? Does that make you feel empowered? Or does that make you feel like, oh, I was created as a slave? Also, if you think about it, if we were created as genetically modified being, and this is how we evolved, then logically, how are we going to evolve more? We're going to have to genetically modify ourselves even more. And I see that ancient aliens, Gaia, Zachariah Sitchin, the alien god ideology has got millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of funding behind it to spread it. And I think it's part of a plan of genetically modifying people and introducing transhumanism. And so, no, I don't believe that Jesus was an alien. I don't believe that aliens came here and genetically modified us. See, there's a problem when reading ancient texts that we face today because we've sunk so deeply into materialism that our mind, when they read these ancient texts, we interpret it as to the most materialistic aspect of it, and we create this science fiction stories out of it. But actually, when you read ancient text, even just 600 years ago, even just 1,000 years ago, we have to read it in the consciousness of the people who wrote it. And the far back you go, the less materialistic Earth was, and it was more etheric. It was less material, less scientific. And the people who wrote this stuff, it was more metaphors, and it's meant to be a spiritual text that unlocks information from within you. It's not meant to be read literally. And when you take it to the most literal aspect, this is what you get: Star Wars. And if you know a little bit about Zachariah Sitchin, the one who translated the Sumerian tablets, and he has the book of this Anunnaki and all of this stuff. Actually, his book was ghost written by the number one propagandist for the Third Reich. Also, this is the same ideology of Scientology. Also, This is the same ideology and God ideology of the Babylonians repackaged into our modern day. So there's this effort to reintroduce the Babylonian religion repackaged into our world today. And I think there's agendas behind it. And I think it's all connected to the UFOs files we see, disclosure, and all of this stuff. We can get deeper into these topics another time. But yeah, basically, I wanted to say that I do not believe we were created by aliens. In the past, people would have called them angels, a spiritual hierarchy. They are aspects of our own selves. But now we just call them alien. And by calling something alien, you're just basically calling it different than me, or that it has nothing to do with us. But just the fact that we can perceive something, it means that it is linked to the earth. We are here on the earth and we can only see the cosmos from the earth's perspective. So anything that we can perceive from earth is directly linked to us. In the past, we would have called those stuff demons and angels, but now it turned into aliens and stuff like that. Greys, Anunnaki, Pleiadians. Um, yeah, so just something to think about. And yeah, I really enjoyed Andrew's reactions, and it was a fun episode to watch. Thank you guys so much for watching this with me, and I'll see you on my next video.